Hello and welcome to our session, Learning Abroad, Going Overseas During Your Degree. It's really exciting to have you guys here at today's ACU Virtual Open Day, so big welcome to you all, and we look forward to chatting with you for the next 15-20 minutes. My name is Amy and I work at ACU International, coordinating the overseas study experiences for ACU students. Our office sits within the Provost Directorate and provides various areas of support and services to both domestic and international students, where we specialize in study abroad, exchange, and short-term mobility programs. This session will focus on the opportunities available to ACU students wanting to go abroad during their degree. We'll provide you with some general information on the ways in which students, both undergraduate and postgraduate, can undertake an overseas experience, whether it be for credit or as a component of your course. We will have time for question and answer at the end of this session as well. Feel free to type in the chat box, or we'll just get to your questions when we get to the end of the session. Our agenda for today's session includes Study Abroad 101. We'll give you an overview of what studying abroad entails. We'll talk about the benefits of studying overseas. We'll discuss what ACU programs can be taken abroad. We'll explain the costs associated with international study and what funding may be available to you. And lastly, we hope to be able to make some of your questions at the end of the session and answer some of your questions at the end of the session. But if we do run out of time, bear in mind that we will have our one-on-one Zoom chats throughout the day, which will be happening obviously all of today. So please make sure to come along to that and chat with us directly. So let's get started. So what do you need to know about studying abroad? Going abroad is nothing new for Australian university students. In 2018, 1 in 4 undergraduate students participated in an overseas learning activity, and over 52,000 students had some form of international experience during their studies. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing COVID-19 situation, many international programs have been adversely impacted. However, students are still interested in studying overseas, and we anticipate that these figures will again show an upward trend. Many students go into their university studies not thinking about doing an international activity. This idea is often relegated to a gap year or backpacking after you finish your studies. But nowadays, an international activity is far more common and widely accessible to university students across many degrees and disciplines. At ACU, there's also additional funding support available to help students make this experience a reality, something we'll touch upon shortly. Most students look to do an overseas study experience where it can be included as part of their general studies. ACU has some degrees which already have an international experience embedded in them, such as our Bachelor of Global Studies degrees and the Bachelor of International Development Studies. For ACU degrees that don't have an international experience built in, most will usually offer a range of units that can be taken abroad. One example is the UNCC 300 unit, which is offered across multiple degrees and can be undertaken as a short-term international study program. For many students, the point is to receive credit for their overseas study, as this is most often the case at ACU. However, there may be some international activities that are not necessarily for credit, but are done as professional development opportunities. These experiences are also of benefit and can be added to your academic resume. At ACU, we send large numbers of students abroad each year. Typically around 1,000 or so students will do some type of international activity. Our international activities come in 2 forms, full semester or short term. This means students can either take a full semester of study abroad or go for a short-term period, usually around 2 or 3 weeks. Now, why go abroad? Here's just a few reasons to consider. First, studying overseas offers you the opportunity to travel. Who doesn't love that? You'll be studying at uni for the next 3 or 4 years, so why not add this type of experience to your degree? Adding an international experience enhances your learning at ACU and provides an opportunity to learn more about your discipline and more about yourself. In the case of short-term programs, you'll often be traveling in a group with other students, which is a wonderful way to gain insight into the way your peers are learning in an international context. You gain a global perspective. For example, an arts unit you'd be doing back here at ACU, you could actually be doing in Italy. You'd be learning about art history, but with an Italian flavor. Or it might be that you're a nursing student doing your clinical placement in a small rural clinic in Timor-Leste. Putting yourself and your studies in a global setting means you can better apply what you learn and help you understand what skills or knowledge are specific to the Australian context. For some students, it also means learning a language. Many employers seek graduates with language skills, and living abroad is one way to get this specialized skill. Undertaking study abroad also looks great on your CV resume. Research has shown that learning abroad experiences help to develop key skills sought after by employers. Employability is often defined as a set of achievements, skills, understandings, and personal attributes that make graduates more likely to gain employment and be successful in their chosen professions. In a world where you are graduating with a lot of other folks with the same degrees, what will you do during your studies to set yourself apart? Going abroad is a way to gain ACU credit as well. As mentioned previously, most students will seek out overseas opportunities that will give them credit in their degree. However, don't overlook an opportunity if it doesn't provide you credit. The international activity may very well be a great way to develop some of those skills we mentioned and add to your ACU resume. And lastly, going abroad is a fantastic way to make connections. Not only will you make lifelong friends, but this is a way to build your networks both at the professional and curricular level. In the age of LinkedIn, building your professional connections may be even more important than building your social ones. So, where can you study? ACU offers a variety of programs that allow you to study overseas. Firstly, there's ACU Exchange Program, which is where you go abroad for a full semester or 12 to 16 weeks. In some cases, students may also choose to go abroad for a full year. You will study at one of ACU's partner institutions. We have more than 80 partners worldwide in places such as the United States, Finland, Taiwan, and so many more. There's an institution to suit really everybody. Students going on exchange will do between 3 to 4 ACU units at the overseas university, which will then count for credit back at ACU. This means you're not delaying your degree. And if going abroad for a semester is what you're after, chat with your course coordinator early on during your first semester. Getting your plans sorted out early is key and will provide you the most flexibility when it comes to this type of program. A semester exchange most often caters to those studying in undergraduate degrees due to the constraints around the units you must do at the postgraduate level. However, postgraduate students should also chat with their course coordinators early on to see whether they have some room in their degree for a semester abroad. At ACU, there are also some degrees which have compulsory overseas components. These include our Global Studies double degrees. Students doing a Global Studies degree have a compulsory international experience built into their course, which happens in semester 2 of year 3. One important thing to note, though, is that the Global Studies overseas component can either be a semester of study or an internship. And you'll find out more about your options once you commence your studies. There's also ACU's Bachelor of International Development Studies, or the BIDS program, as we often call it. The BIDS program has a compulsory immersion experience built into the course in semester 1 of year 3. The immersion placement involves being located for a short period of around 3 to 4 weeks in a developing country. Now, other types of ACU programs include short-term international experiences where students go overseas for anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks. These programs come in various forms, from faculty-led, where the ACU academic joins the group of students and teaches the unit abroad, to a clinical placement where instead of doing your placement here in Australia, you might be doing it in a clinic in Vanuatu. Short-term also includes other types of practicums and even volunteering or community engagement. Some of these programs will be actual ACU units done abroad, while others may be non-credit bearing activities but count towards the unit requirements. Many of our short programs take place at ACU's Rome campus, and students from all faculties may have an opportunity to study and learn in Italy. Once you start your studies, it's important to chat with your faculty to find out what short-term study options may be available in your discipline. Another one of our short-term programs we want to highlight here is related to our core curriculum. The UNCC 300 Justice and Change in a Global World is a compulsory unit that most disciplines in ACU are required to take. However, instead of doing UNCC 300 in a normal semester, you can choose to do this program internationally with a group of ACU students in a 2-week period during the semester breaks, either in summer or in the winter holiday. We currently offer international core programs in Rome, in Leeds in the UK, and New York, but the program has also been offered in other locations such as Paris and Beijing. During the International Core program allows students to meet ACU students from other campuses and from other disciplines, since it's a mix of all areas of the university. If you are a physiotherapy student, then this might be the only time you share a classroom with someone from law, for example. One thing we haven't talked about much, but it's something you will hear often once you start at ACU, is our Rome campus. Having a Rome campus enables us to connect closely to our Catholic mission and educational tradition, and it's where numerous ACU units are taught, including our International Core program. Now, the next thing most students start to think about are the costs involved in studying abroad. It's important to know that each program can vary in cost, and as they depend on things like inclusions, the country the activity is taking place in, the duration of the activity, and even if you're thinking of doing extra travel in addition to your learning activity. Remember, the longer you go abroad, the more costs you'll be incurring. So of course, going for a full semester where you are paying monthly rent will be more expensive than, say, a 2-week placement in Fiji. However, there are ways to make this experience more affordable if you are savvy and take advantage of the available financial resources. There are various types of financial support available at ACU, which include the ACU Vice Chancellor and President's Travel Grant, which is a one-time grant offered to all ACU students during their studies, whether you're postgraduate or undergraduate student. The grant supports the students undertaking international activities with the grant value ranging from $500 to $2,500, depending on the type of experience undertaken. The OS Help Loan, which is often offered to Commonwealth supported students and is a loan a student borrows and repays in the same way they do their HECS Help debt. This loan provides students with an opportunity to finance their overseas experience, whether it's for a short-term program or for a full semester exchange. And there are also other government scholarships which can vary from year to year. One such example is the new Colombo Plan scholarships and mobility grants that offer students financial support to undertake study in the Indo-Pacific region. In the case of exchange, students are not required to pay overseas international tuition fees, but instead pay their normal semester fees at ACU, even though they're studying abroad. This is a great way to live overseas because your study fees are essentially the same as if you were in Australia, and you're still paying your class fees through HECS Help. Now, we won't go into too much detail here about budgeting and funding, as these are areas discussed in more detail later down the track. Now, I'd like to finish off by showing you a video testimonial from one of our International Core program participants. Here, Sophia talks about her time abroad and the value of undertaking international activity during her ACU studies.
My name is Sophia Andres, and I'm from the Philippines studying Bachelor of Human Resource Management at the Australian Catholic University at North Sydney. I did the study abroad program that's centered on UNCC 300. It's a core curriculum program that I did in Paris. So as part of my course, it was an option for me to either do it onshore or offshore, and I chose the offshore option. ACU and Study Abroad specifically has been very generous to me in terms of funding. They helped me through the program scholarship, which I applied for, and also the Vice Chancellor's grant, which everyone is eligible for this. As an ACU student, it really assisted me in applying for my visa, in getting my flights. Academically, the highlights of the trip was being able to do site visits. It was visiting the homeless shelter, a refugee center, where we saw the other side of Paris that tourists wouldn't see. And it was a great privilege for ACU students to be able to go to those places as part of the study abroad program. So together with the ACU bunch, we've had a lot of time to go to Versailles, see the Louvre, to go inside the museums and actually have time to visit them. And so I went to Florence as well, to Italy, to just see how that side of the world looks like as well. It didn't disappoint, so it was really good. The program taught me many different things that will definitely help me in the future for my future employability. And I think it also gave me the skills to initiate action. I would say to students who are thinking about studying abroad to just go for it.
So we've got some time now to allow for some questions if there are any. So I might just open the floor up for a minute or so just to allow for anyone who has an inquiry that we might be able to answer today to do so in the chat box just there. So we'll give it a minute. I'll put myself on mute and come back to you shortly. So I see a few questions have come through, which I've just put on to the Q&A, and I'll start with the first one, which I've put up there, which is what year study can I do this program? It really depends on what degree you're doing. Most students will go from second year onwards, as most programs will require at least 1 year of your ACU study to allow for you to go abroad. So you normally have to have a certain level of GPA to be able to go. And by that stage, you've obviously had a year under your belt here at ACU to be able to go abroad in some capacity. So you can look at certain degrees where, for example, with nursing, they've got a MAP program that requires students to go at a very specific time in their degree. But for the most part, there's usually a flexibility just depending on how many units you have left in your degree. I would suggest that in most instances, you look at your second year of study where you're going to have far more availability of, say, electives and some of the flexible options to be able to source your units that you need abroad. So I won't go into too much detail because it gets bogged into the finer points, but that's something we can actually speak to you directly once you start thinking about your plans for going abroad. Now, what year study can I do this program? Again, that's going to vary depending on where it is you go. Are there any degrees that are not allowed to go abroad? That's a great question. There's some where you just cannot go for a semester abroad program. For example, Bachelor of Paramedicine, they don't allow for that. And there's some where there's issues around accreditation. So just be mindful if you do have programs where, again, they're very rigid in their curriculum and, again, have issues around accreditation. You have to be very much more particular, and there's a possibility that you can't go for a full semester. The other question I noticed come up is how do you choose where to go and which country would be best for overseas study? That's a great question. We have numerous partners, so we have a list of those that are available to you for semester exchange, for example, and there's others that the faculties have created these opportunities with local organizations or local clinics in some cases. So you might just have to, if you wanted to do something in Fiji with health sciences, you might just have that particular option available to you. I guess there's a couple of ways to look at it. So it's really what's available, and if you have obviously some flexibility and a few options, then you just can choose what's better suited to you. In terms of long-term programs like semester exchange, you're really looking at what institution will have more of the units available to your degree and your degree requirements, and also things like lifestyle. So if you have a few options available to you, then would you prefer going somewhere where it might snow or somewhere where there's warmer weather? Or perhaps you're thinking, I'd like to also add a language component and I'd like to learn a new language. So there's a few variables that you can look at. And again, it's something we talk you through once you start thinking of the process. Someone mentioned that, is this available, is studying Bachelor of Education primary? You have options as well to go abroad. Again, you want to be looking early on for your education degrees because, again, there's some issues with some of them around the requirements that you have to do. Oftentimes, there are certain units you must satisfy here at ACU that you couldn't do elsewhere. So there are some options for students in that degree. Again, talk to us early and we can give you further advice about it. The next question was, are you able to do a short-term exchange in 1 year and a semester-long exchange in another year? Yeah, you can. You can. So we've had students in the past who have gone on a semester abroad program and loved it so much that they thought, well, listen, I can't go for a whole semester again. I might just try a 2-week intensive program. So we've had students who have done multiple programs, again, suiting their requirements back here at ACU and getting credit for it. So that's certainly a possibility for students. Let's see if I can find any more questions. I may have just answered all of them, I think. And yeah, I think we've actually done that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And obviously this brings us to the end of our session, and I want to wish you all the best for the rest of your open day. We do hope that we'll see you sometime at ACU in the near future, and we look forward to helping you plan your overseas study experience. One thing I should mention too is feel free to contact us for further communication through the channels listed here on the the slides in front of you. Check out our Instagram and our Facebook pages, like us, and to follow us along. And also, please note that we'll be available today in Zoom chats for anyone interested in learning a bit more. So check out ACU's Open Day website for more information about those Zoom chats. So again, all the best for the rest of your day today with us. I hope you get a lot out of it, and we do look forward to seeing you at ACU in the future. Take care.